As you may have heard by now, social media companies such as Facebook and Twitter have been much stricter about what you can and cannot post. This began before the election as a way to prevent misinformation or fake news from spreading. Sometimes these companies would take the post completely down or leave the post but add an alert message to warn users of misinformation. But after the attack on the Capitol, they have taken a much more aggressive stance. Former President Trump is permanently banned from Twitter and banned on Facebook until further notice. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey said the ban came after continued violations of their community guidelines. But the straw that broke the camel's back was the Capitol riots. Dorsey cites that Trump's online tweets caused offline harm and threats to physical safety. And for that, he is permanently banned.
Don't get me wrong, I was appalled at what happened at the Capitol building, but all of this banning and censorship makes me wonder, is our First Amendment right to freedom of speech being violated?
You bring up a really interesting point, Giovanna. Jack Dorsey himself recognized that banning Trump from Twitter has set a dangerous precedent for a free and open global internet. Luckily for us, Oscar has been investigating this topic and has the scoop. Let's now head to Oscar for our very first edition of NexGen Investigates.
Hey NexGen viewers, Oscar here for NexGen Investigates, where we investigate important and sometimes controversial topics to give you the scoop. Today we're talking censorship and the First Amendment. To fully grasp this topic, we need to go back in time to understand the First Amendment. The year is 1791, the Bill of Rights, or the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, had just been ratified. The First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the peaceful peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. To put it in simpler terms, the First Amendment guaranteed freedom of religion, petition, assembly, press, and freedom of speech. But let's focus on the freedom of speech part. Freedom of speech gives citizens the right to express ideas, opinions, and information without government restraint. If companies like Twitter and Facebook are censoring posts or banning individuals from their platform, some people are left wondering, are their First Amendment rights being violated? It's an interesting question for sure. If you were to just look at the First Amendment from when it was ratified in 1791, the answer would probably be yes. But the First Amendment was very vague. And over the years, the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled what is and what is not protected by the First Amendment. In the 1919 case, Schenck versus the United States, the Supreme Court ruled that incitement of people to commit illegal or lawless activity or acts that create a clear and present danger to others is not protected by the First Amendment. For example, it is against the law to walk into a movie theater and falsely yell, "Fire!" Definitely don't do that. Along these lines, Twitter and Facebook have banned Trump for inciting the attack on the U.S. Capitol building because his speech led to illegal and lawless activities that were a harm to others, which is not covered by the First Amendment. But besides Trump, what about all these posts being censored or tagged as misinformation? Posts about conspiracy theories, election fraud, misinformation about COVID-19 and vaccines. Are those covered under the First Amendment? This is a bit trickier. It boils down to, are these posts following the company's community guidelines? Twitter and Facebook are not government entities, and freedom of speech only protects individuals from federal and state action. Therefore, these companies have the right to establish and enforce their rules regarding users' posts. But, as Jack Dorsey says, does this censorship set a dangerous precedent for a free and global internet? I don't have all the answers, but one thing is for sure. When our founding fathers wrote the First Amendment, They did not anticipate the age of social media and misinformation we are living in today. Times have changed, and I wouldn't be surprised if this fight over misinformation makes its way to the Supreme Court in the future. For now, I'm Oscar, and this has been a special report of NexGen Investigates.